Michelle, we did get a headline about an hour and a half ago about Puerto Rico. They did make a payment.
They certainly did. They paid their government development bank debt today, and that's important because part of that debt was guaranteed by Puerto Rico with its full faith and credit, and so they made the payment. This avoids a default for now, at least for now. And
it ain't over.
It ain't over. They do face another payment due January 1 on their general obligation debt. It's an interest payment on GL.
Mm-hmm. And those are the payments are more likely to have gotten paid anyway, right? Like in the entire spectrum of all the things that they're likely to pay off.
Sure.
This is one that was probably more likely. Yes?
The one today or the January one? But
well, today.
Today, yes. Just given that a large chunk of it, the central government was on the hook for. It's the type of debt where if they hadn't have made the payment, there definitely would have been some legal suits they would have faced.
So where are we now? So what's next? Because I feel like this is a story that has gone on for some time already. Creditors, I mean, they still need to be made whole. I mean, where are we?
Well, Puerto Rico continues to negotiate with its creditors. It really wants to try to reduce its total $70 billion debt load, and they're hoping that investors will participate in some sort of a debt exchange.
Or I said creditors need to be made whole. They want to be made whole.
They want to be made whole, and certainly that's what they want. And so Puerto Rico will continue with that. And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to make the payment today. If they didn't make it in full, in theory, you'd think that their creditors and investors would be angered by that, and that might throw off some of these negotiations that are going on.
Michelle, who holds the debt at this point?
It's still the traditional mutual funds are still in there. Franklin and Oppenheimer, they hold roughly about $10 billion combined, and then you also have the hedge funds. They hold almost about 30% of Puerto Rico's total debt, and you have also individuals that hold it as well.
At the same time, I mean, Congress has been holding hearings on what to do to help the Commonwealth, and yet there's not necessarily been any kind of consensus, has there, and certainly not any kind of overture to help out Puerto Rico.
Definitely. Lawmakers in Washington are saying, look, you guys need to show us some sort of change here. Yeah. They point to the fact that Puerto Rico has yet to release audited financials from the fiscal year ending 2014. That would be that's the year ending June 30th, 2014. So you got to go far back, and so they want to see more clarity, more numbers, solid numbers coming out of Puerto Rico.
And you talked about general obligation bonds. Is that do they have more leeway there? Put it the other way, is it less likely that the debtors will get paid with those G&O bonds?
On the general obligations?
Yes.
Well, the thing about the general obligations is Puerto Rico's constitution stipulates that general obligation bonds must be repaid before other expenses. So from that, if you look at it from that perspective, and the bondholders certainly do, they're saying, look, this is supposed to be the first payment that you guys make every month. So so they would say that their legal claims are very, very strong. If it ever were to go before a judge, though, maybe a judge would see it differently. Maybe he or she would say, well, wait a second, their situation is so dire, Puerto Rico can't live up to that constitutional pledge. But that remains to be seen.
Whenever we're in a situation like this, I think about, okay, what got Puerto Rico to this point and what can be done to prevent it in the future? Is there something in terms of their macro backdrop that can be improved so they're not constantly kind of in this situation?
Well, their economy definitely needs to start growing again. It's been struggling since 2006, and for years what they would do is they would borrow to help balance their operating budget. So they were overspending, and Puerto Rico, for them to get back on track, the economy needs to strengthen and for it to not be so sluggish, and for them to have balanced budgets. They need to live within their means. And then for other jurisdictions, they would need to abide by that as well to help avoid getting into the same problems.
All right, good update. And for the moment, we got that January 1st deadline also looming.